During this video, we're going to look at a few different types of queries. We're going to look at an update query, an append query, delete query, and also crosstab query. We're going to begin by looking at an update query. Now, once again, an update query is an action query. It makes changes to the actual table itself. So we're going to look at our table here. It's called tickets. Tickets is made up of the following fields running across: ticket number, DL number, ticket date, city, primary factor, officer badge, and fine. And we have a couple of open, or there's actually one other open field with no information in it, and it's called record added timestamp. Now what we're going to do is we're going to update a new date into this blank field. And basically we're going to, just to show how an update query works, we're going to put in a formula where the new date or timestamp is going to be open, or it's going to be equal to the ticket date plus 7 days. So it'll be 1 week later. So once again, here's our table right here. We're going to close it, and then we're going to update information into that field called record added timestamp. Create, query design. We're going to be working with the ticket table, and we're going to be performing an update query. We're going to begin by creating a very small select query. Select query is based upon the ticket table, and we have the fields ticket number and record added time. If I were to run that, we can see we have our various ticket numbers, and once again there's no information right now inside of that record added timestamp or that field. We have our select query. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to click on update. I'm going to click on update. After clicking on update, you can see that we have a new row here that's saying update to. Now we're going to come over to that row, and we're going to have our cursor directly underneath the field that we're going to update. The field that we're going to update, record added timestamp. Right now there's nothing in it. We want to update a formula into that. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to click on Builder. Click over here for our database. Click here for the tables. The table that we're trying to update is ticket. We're going to create a formula. So we're going to take the ticket date field plus 7. That's going to be our formula. So from the table name ticket field ticket date plus 7, I'm going to add 7 days to it. Click OK. Our formula is now showing. Click Run. We get a dialog box. So we want to update 37 rows. We're going to click Yes. And after opening up our table, the ticket table, we can see that our changes have come true. 7/5 plus 7 would be the 12th. 7/7 plus 7 would be the 14th. So everything has been updated. Everything is now been filled in. Let's go back to our query. I'm going to close out our table. take a look at our query. Once again, it's an update query. And the field that we updated was right here. The record added timestamp field. We updated it with a formula. What I'm going to do, I'm going to change that. I'm going to highlight it, delete it. And what I want to do is I want to bring it back to its original state where everything was null or blank. So what I'm going to do next is type in null. I'm going to update it to null. So I'm going to take this field that had those dates in it, and I'm going to update it to null. Make sure we're in design. Come over here and run it. 37 rows will once again be changed. They should be nulled out or blanked out. Click yes. Let's look at our table. And we can see that everything has all been changed. Everything has been nulled out. So once again, looking at this update query, now we can update multiple rows and we can also use criteria, but it's a tremendously powerful type of query where it actually changes the actual table itself, depending upon what field you choose and how you want to update that field. Let's close out query, or rather the tickets table. And we're going to save this as update. Next, we're going to perform a crosstab query. And we're going to begin by looking at the table once again by the name of ticket. We have our various fields with our dates, the cities, the primary factors, and then the actual fine itself. In a crosstab query, it's basically similar to a pivot table. And what we're going to do is create that crosstab query that's going to look at primary factors by city, and then we're going to sum the fines. So once again, we're going to base it upon primary factor, then by city, and we're going to sum the fines. Click on Create. Query Wizard. A lot of times it's best to use the actual wizard itself for a crosstab query. Then you can always make changes to it. Crosstab Query Wizard. Click OK. The table that we're going to use is called Ticket. Click on Next. So the table, or rather query, is based upon the table ticket. Which values do you want in the rows? So we're going to start off in the rows. We're going to choose primary factor. Once again, you can see your primary factors showing in the grid here. So that's what we've chosen. Click Next. Which field values do you want in your column headings? I'm going to choose city. Once again, the cities are now showing across in your columns. Click Next. What number do you want to calculate for each column? And we're going to choose Fine. And what we want to do is we want to sum those fines. So we're going to sum the fines. Next. This is going to be the name of our query. Click on Finish. Once again, it's very similar to a pivot table. We have our primary factors, and then running across are our cities within New York, where this information has been compiled from. Now let's look at this query in the design view. It's basically already been run for us. You notice everything is grouped or summed. Once again, this is the key here. Everything has been grouped. We're grouping first by primary factor, and it's telling us that that's going to be the primary factors are going to be our row headings. Then by city, and the city are going to be our column headings. Our fines, we're going to be summing them. And we're also going to be summing the total of the fines. So that's where that Crosstab query is coming from. But it's easy to add on to that. You can add another 2 additional rows. Here's our table. Let's come down and take ticket date and place it right here. So basically what's happening is that we're going to be grouping first by primary factor, then by ticket date. But we have to go down here underneath the crosstab. We need to make that a row heading. Okay, right now it had been blank, so we're going to have 2 row headings. The first grouping is by primary factor. Our second row heading will be ticket date. Run, and once again, here's our information. The groupings are by primary factor, then dates by primary factor, and the information by city. Once again, a very powerful way of summing the information, or for that matter, you could average it. But it's very similar to pivot tables. Not quite as powerful, not quite as flexible, but still it's a powerful type of query. In this next query, what I'm going to do is perform a query on one table and take the results of that query and append or add it to another table. So once again, I'm going to perform a query on the tickets table. These are all the fields. The query will only be looking at those records where the city is equal to Utica. I'm going to take the results of that query and append it or add it to the table called tickets 2. But let's run it first. We have a select query right now based upon the tickets table. Run it. We can see we have our results here. It's only Utica, and there's only 10 records. Now, to make that select query into an append query, all we have to do is click on Append. We fill in the dialog box. We're going to append that information to what table? Drop-down menu, and we're going to add it on to Tickets 2. Click OK, and we can see that we have another row across here. If we were to look at it from SQL, this is what's happening here. We're going to be inserting the information into the tickets to table using these various field names. And it's based upon what we selected from the ticket table. And it's only in the case where the city is equal to Utica. So we have our append query. Click run. 10 rows. We know it should be 10 rows. We had already run our select query. So once again, our 10 rows have been added. Next, we're going to run a delete query. Very similar to the steps that we use for the append query. We're going to base this delete query on the table called tickets to. We've already brought down our fields. And once again, I'm going to use as a criteria where it's Utica. Once again, it's a select query at the moment. Click run. There would only be 10 records. Still looking at it. So it's 10 records. We want to delete those 10 records from our table, tickets to. And all we have to do next, after creating our select query and checking it out, is click on delete. See, it's changed right here. Click on run. 10 rows are going to be deleted. Click yes. And we've deleted our 10 rows pertaining to Utica for our delete query. We'll save our query. Save it as delete. And the next type of query that we're going to look at is a make table. Now what a make table is, it is a make table query. It is a query, and basically the results of the query are made into an actual table itself. So you run the query, and those results are made into a table. So for our purposes, we have a table called ticket. We have our various fields listed. Once again, we're going to look at the city being equal to Utica. And as we know, we run it, there's going to be 10 records showing. And to turn that into a make table, all we have to do is click up here for make table. Make a new table, and we're going to call it make table example. So the query is going to run. It's going to have 10 records, and it's going to create a table called make table example. So we're going to click OK. Click run. 10 rows. Those 10 rows are going to be made into a new table. Click yes. And we can see that we have a new table here now called make table example. Let's open it up. And we can see that the results of our query has been made into a new table called make table example, and it has 10 records. Thank you.